thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, we know that Mount Flatten is full of Upsidaisium, and that's why it floats in midair. But why does it stay in one place? Our heroes rigged up a jet engine to fly the mountain to Washington, but after 8 hours of flying, they found themselves in the same spot they started from.
We haven't gained an inch, Bullwinkle.
Well, let's look on the bright side.
What's that?
We haven't lost one either.
Then our friends made one last attempt at moving the mountain. All night long they flew, and as day began to dawn, pulled into a cloud bank.
Top secret stuff, you know. Nobody must find out about Mount Flatten.
But instead of resting after their flight, Rocky and Bullwinkle decided to stand guard, and so huddled together in the clammy fog, wide-eyed and alert, while, I said wide-eyed and alert.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hey, Bullwinkle, do you feel anything strange?
Can't say as I do. We're moving pretty smooth.
But we're not supposed to be moving at all.
Hey, that's right.
Sure enough, the mountain was moving slowly out of the clouds and starting back the same way it had come for the third time.
This is no mountain. It's a big granite yo-yo.
Hokey smoke, Bullwinkle, look there.
And as the fog cleared, our heroes saw the reason for Mount Flatten's antics.
It's another engine pulling us back.
When we went to sleep, it took us back where we started.
And who were those two people?
It's Mojave Max and Death Valley Dottie. Hey, you two.
Boris, they're not asleep, we're caught.
Oh boy, as Julius Caesar said, Amnegalia in tres partes divisa est.
Translation.
The jig is up, run!
After him, Bullwinkle.
The mighty moose pounded after the hapless Boris, but just as he was about to seize him, his false beard flew off and landed on Bullwinkle.
Oop!
Bullwinkle, that's a false beard.
So it is.
We better tell Captain Peach Fuzz right away.
In a few minutes, they had related the whole story to the head of G2. His reaction was immediate.
Away, all boats! Stand by to jettison supercargo, blast off, and charge!
Captain!
Did I miss anything?
Captain, shouldn't we notify Washington?
I told you, Rocky, this mountain is top secret.
Not anymore, it's not. Looky there.
Oddly enough, Bullwinkle was right, for far below, Mount Flatten was making a great impression on people of a small mountain town who were seeing it for the first time.
Say, Zeke, there's a whole great big mountain floating through there.
Yeah?
With trees and everything. I never did see anything like it.
You know, Clem, it sounds so old-fired good. I plumb wish I was facing that way.
Blam, there's a whole South 40 floating overhead.
Reckon it's the Hartfields. They've been thinking of moving.
And of course, the event did not go unnoticed on the local radio station.
Sarah Gummy has broke her leg. There is a mountain floating over our town. And here's the important flash. Egg prices up to 24 cents a dozen.
But eventually, word of the flight of Mount Flatten reached the outside world.
Extra, extra! Squirrel flies floating mountain! Rocky heads for Washington!
And soon a squadron of planes flew alongside the mountain as an honor escort.
Hi, fellas.
Drop in any time.
But not everybody was delighted with this turn of events.
Bad enough. This mountain must not reach Washington.
But we nearly there, Mr. Big. What could we do?
Don't you remember the old motto of terrorist tech?
Of course, when in doubt, blow it up.
Right. Boris, you will blow up Mount Flatten. Now.
Oh, boy!
Well, can this mean the end of our story and our heroes at the same time? Be sure to be here next time for Supersonic Boom or the Old Mount Samooverin.
And now it's time
For 5 or 6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But
Ooh.
now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
Once there lived a young man who, more than anything else, wanted to become a traveling minstrel.
Yeah, like I want to wander through the kingdom giving concerts on my flat.
You mean your flute.
This is a flat. A flat is like a flute. You might say it's sort of a flat flute.
He had practiced the flat for 5 years and at last felt he was ready for his debut. He rented the Hamlin Concert Hall, dressed in a variegated suit of clothing, billed himself as the Pied Piper. The house was filled, the lights were dimmed, silence fell over the great hall, and he began. Unfortunately, however, even after he had begun to play, the hall was still silent, for the flat was such a high-pitched instrument that no human ear could hear it. The only ones able to hear the flat music were the mice of the kingdom, and they did not like what they heard. Oh, my, no.
Ooh, that is piercing.
That's the flattest I ever heard.
Let's cut out of here. I can't stand it.
And with that, mice left the kingdom in droves. But the audience, still unable to hear a thing, just sat, waiting for the concert to begin. In fact, they sat for 2 weeks before they knew it was over. It seemed as though the poor Pied Piper was a flop as a flautist, but a roaring success as an exterminator. Doing the only thing left for him to do, he took his flat and opened up an exterminator business and was summoned by the king for his very first job.
Hi, Highness. You have an exterminating job for me to do?
Yes, I do.
Fine. What's the pest? Rats, cats, bats, lice, mice?
No, my mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law? But mothers-in-law are human.
Oh, yeah?
You fat pompous little worm! King or no king, you're a nincompoop! And let me tell you...
That's human?
But only mice are able to hear the flat music. And if your mother-in-law can't hear it, it couldn't possibly drive her away.
Well, what do mice have that mothers-in-law don't have? Why are they the only ones that can hear your flat?
Well, maybe it's something they eat, sire.
This set the king to thinking.
Eating lots of carrots gives you good eyes. Mice eat lots of cheese. Maybe that's what gives them good ears.
I think that's logic, sire.
I'm going to feed that old meanie cheese until it's coming out of her big ears.
And with that, the king gathered up cheeses by the score and set them before his mother-in-law.
Look, Mama, all for you. You open your big mouth now and eat all you want.
You're being nice to me. What are you up to, Weasel?
Nothing.
They're poisoned, aren't they?
Oh, come now, Mama. Would I try to poison my own mother-in-law?
Yes.
You're right.
What?
I said they're all right. Watch, I'll eat some.
The mother-in-law watched the king closely, and when he didn't drop dead, decided it was safe and tried some cheese herself.
Say, this is good.
Oh, the plan was working, but in order to keep her eating, the king had to eat cheese too. For 3 months, they ate gobs of Gouda, pecks of provolone, racks of Roquefort, and lots of Limburger. Finally, the king figured it was time to put the scheme to a test.
Psst, Pipey. Now, give a blat on your flat and we'll see what happens.
Right, sire.
What was that?
It worked.
The cheese had done the trick. They had both heard the flat clear as a bell. Now, the mother-in-law could be exterminated with no trouble at all. The king packed her bags, had a carriage waiting at the front gate so that she could make a quick getaway, and sent the piper off to do his stuff. The Pied Piper played his flat for the mother-in-law like he had never played before, but with rather surprising results.
My, what haunting music. Where could it be coming from? Why, it's you.
Yes, ma'am. Doesn't it give you that want-to-run-away feeling?
Heavens, no, I simply love it. More. Play more.
The Pied Piper, never having had anyone like his flat music before, immediately fell madly in love with the king's mother-in-law and played for her with all of his heart.
Like, go, man, go!
Oh, that awful flat music. Stop that this instant, you. I command you.
See here, Runt. I happen to like flat music, and if you don't, you know what you can do.
The king did know, and he did. He dashed to the waiting carriage and he sped away for parts unknown, never to be seen again.
Now then, are you ready, dear?
Yes, my love.
It was quite clear that the king's mother-in-law and the Pied Piper were meant for each other, and they were soon married. In the months to follow, it was decided that all in the kingdom should be allowed to enjoy flat music. So the castle was converted into a concert hall, and flat concerts were held nightly. And, oh yes, to ensure the audience of hearing the music, the eating of cheese was highly encouraged. Instead of a popcorn stand, a cheese stand was put in the lobby, so when the patrons came to the concert...
Yes, sir. Would you like some cheddar?
No.
Camembert?
No.
Gorgonzola?
No.
Well, for pity's sake, what do you want then?
Take me to your liederkranz.
And now, here's Bullwinkle's Corner.
Today's offering is The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, suddenly there came a tapping. 'Tis some raven come rapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. No raven. Back into my chamber spooky, feeling sad and somewhat kooky. Come in. Hey, you're no raven. You're a woodpecker. Quickly then I grabbed a poker. Okay now, you feathered joker, I'll teach you to interrupt a verse by Edgar Allan Poe. Now the room is round me waving. Feels like I've been in a cave-in. When will next I read The Raven? I can tell you, never know.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Ooh, don't know my own strength.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Months had gone by, and contrary to the code of the Royal Canadian Mounties, they had not been getting their man. Dudley Do-Right was no exception. He did bring in, however...
An apple? Flattery will get you nowhere, Do-Right. Unless you bring back a man this very day, I'll put you back to pounding the pavement.
Oh, not that, Inspector.
Hello there, Dudley. Just out for a stroll. Beautiful day, isn't it?
Maybe for you, but for me a hopeless day, filled with despair.
What's wrong, Do-Right?
Everything. If I don't bring in a man by today, I will be put in a fate worse than death.
Back to pounding the pavement, eh? What would this man have to do to be brought in?
Oh, something like, blowing up a bridge. Crimes.
How about defacing the great Canadian forest? Is that a crime?
Oh, yes, that's a crime.
Well, your troubles are over, Do-Right. There's your man over there.
You, sir, are under arrest. Come along peacefully now, because, ta-da, the Mounties always get their man. I've got him, Inspector. I've got him. I've got my man.
What you've got there is a bear, Do-Right, and I'd appreciate it if you'd get him out of... What are you doing?
By Jove, Inspector, I do believe the bear has taken a fancy to the Mounties. I think he'd like to become one of us.
Well, I won't have it, Do-Right. I simply won't have it. There are certain rules to becoming a mounter that I think can be overlooked in this case.
So the bear became a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, upholding the tradition of always getting their man. The only trouble was he always got the wrong man.
Do thank heaven the Mounties have arrived. Catch that thief! And don't think you won't hear about this? Put in prison like a common criminal while Snidely Whiplash is allowed to roam the Canadian countryside.
The trouble with our new recruit is that he brings in too many people and always the wrong ones. Sunday school teachers, ministers, little old ladies, used car dealers. Our most upstanding civic-minded citizens are languishing in the stockade.
But, Inspector, if you know they're upstanding, civic-minded citizens, why do you lock them in the stockade?
Because, Dudley, I haven't the heart to tell that poor bear he's doing the wrong thing. It would break his heart. Oh, if only that bear would bring in the real criminal, Snidely Whiplash.
Father, you're not going to lock me up.
You think I want to, my own daughter? But the morale of the Corps is at stake. Don't look back, dear. I want to remember you as you were always.
But, Father...
Dudley, you got us into this mess, and you very well will get us out of it or suffer the consequences.
Sir, there is one other rule.
What is that, Dudley?
A Mountie must be clean-shaven.
Clean-shaven? By Jove, Dudley, you're right.
I'm sorry, old man, but I didn't make the rules, you know. A Mountie at all times must be clean-shaven.
Dudley, you've got to think of something else. You've got to get rid of that bear, or we are going to get rid of you.
And, Nell, that's the story. I've got to get rid of that bear, but how? If I tell him he's not a Mountie, it'll break his heart.
Dudley, what makes the world go round?
Well, it's a combination of gravitational forces.
Love! What that bear needs is a sweetheart.
Oh, Nell, I couldn't ask you to do a thing like that.
Oh, not me, silly, but a girl bear. That bear needs a girlfriend.
Nell, I do think you've hit on something. I'll go right now and find a girlfriend for him. But, Nell, do you think the girl bear will like him?
Oh, Dudley, what girl can resist the uniform of a Royal Canadian Mounted Police?
Will I see you again, Nell?
Sure. Visiting hours are from 9 to 5.
So Dudley went out in search of a girlfriend for Mountie Bear.
Oh, Miss Bear, I was wondering, are you going steady with anyone? Not with me! Oh, for goodness sake, I didn't mean... Oh, Nell was right. The uniform is irresistible.
By George, at last, Snidely Whiplash, finally brought in by a Mountie. By Jove, that bear will get a commendation.
No, please! My affections are already centered elsewhere. I did it, Inspector! I did it!
Not yet, but you're going to.
Going to what?
You're going back to pounding the pavement.
Well, Mount Flatton, still chock full of Upsidaisium, the anti-gravity metal, is on the way to Washington with Rocky, our Rocky, at the helm. Meanwhile, all is not well on Mount Flatton, for hidden deep in a cave, two familiar figures and a sinister shadow are planning to blow up the whole mountain.
If Pennsylvania can't have the Upsidaisium, nobody can.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Big.
Of course I am.
Only one question.
Yes?
Why do we want it?
Didn't you read your instructions?
They were so secret, I had to burn them before I read them.
Oh, then let me enlighten you.
And the two villains listened in amazement as Mr. Big told them why Pottsylvania was in a pickle. It seems that some years ago, the Pottsylvanians had started manufacturing a small automobile, the Assassin 8.
Okay, gentlemen, this assembly line is completely automatic. I just turn it on with this key. Now watch cars come off other end.
True enough, the automation system worked perfectly. Soon, dealer showrooms were loaded with Assassin 8s. This was a great success because they were so inexpensive.
700 pesos.
Loaf bread cost 800 pesos.
What's the secret?
This new engine, buddy, is revolutionary.
What do you mean, revolutionary?
I mean it revolves.
But that's only squirreling cake.
What do you expect for 700 pesos? Kangaroo?
Okay, I buy.
Yes, everybody in Pottsylvania bought an Assassin 8, but the company's board of directors weren't very happy about it.
Gentlemen, I got it bad news.
So tell.
Car number 6000 just rolled off assembly line.
So that's bad?
Pottsylvania only got 6 miles roads.
6,000 cars.
6 miles roads.
Oh, boy.
Yes, if all the cars in Pottsylvania were put end to end, it would be a typical Sunday afternoon. The Pottsylvanian government decided to build a network of highways, but too late. The construction crews got caught in the traffic and were never heard from again. The manufacturers had tried to turn off the assembly line only to find that they'd lost the key. They exported thousands of assassinates to other countries, but they were made much faster than they could be carried away. Politicians campaigned on the issue.
And if elected, I promise to solve our number one national problem, the parking problem.
Soon every highway, street, and lane was parked solid with automobiles. In desperation, the government turned to Pottsylvania's scientists.
Is there no answer at all, Dr. Popova?
Yes.
What? What is it?
Anti-gravity metal called Upsidaisium.
How does Upsidaisium solve problem?
Look here. We make cars out of Upsidaisium.
Yes.
They lighter than air.
Yes.
So automatically solves parking problem.
Doctor, you are genius.
Of course.
You are national hero.
Net.
You are under arrest.
Yeah. Why?
You know too much.
Oh.
Gentlemen, from now on, Pottsylvania got only one goal. Find Upsidaisium.
And if somebody else got it first?
Then, kaboom!
Kaboom, Mr. Biggs.
Yes, Natasha. Kaboom!
Oh, boy. I could hardly wait.
And bad enough?
Yes, boss man.
Don't forget to blow yourself up along with it.
Well, that's bad news for Boris, but even worse news for our heroes who are standing right above him. Be with us next time for The Big Blast or A Many Splintered Thing.
Well, it looks as if our time is just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop!
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right!
Bye now. See you next time.